class officially started. Now we're recording and class is starting because I had the circle of death going for a minute. This is Principles of Business, Business 2213. The class is 4 weeks long, just like the rest of the classes. It starts on 5/8, and we run until I believe it is 6/4. Our classes will be 6/4. Our classes will be every Monday at this time, which is 6:30. I have 2 classes actually tonight. The other is business math. I always put it off to the second part of the night just because as we go on, a lot of people like to stay over, and I like to give them as much time as humanly possible if they need it. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Now, when you see me looking over this way, it's because I'm looking at my second screen. So, and I'm looking at what you guys are looking at. Thumbs up, everybody can. Can I get a thumbs up if everybody can see my screen? Sorry, there we go. Thank you, Autumn. All right, Kimberlyn. Okay, so once again, business principles of business. This will teach students the basis for business operations and professionalism, emphasizing entrepreneurship and the risk and rewards of starting their own business and improving business processes in an existing business, working in groups and making effective presentations. Whole mouth, right? And I will like to say business operations and professionalism, which Shay, commented out that maybe I need to work on that since I was just jabbering on before class started. All these are links. We have the link to the class, the Zoom meeting. Have it in 2 spots. You have my information here. If we just click on it, you'll see my big head pop up. Eventually. Good gosh. Okay, the best way to get a hold of me is through email. I do keep a pretty good eye on those. The second best way is to just send me a text, which there is a text number here. You can also, I may even change that and just give out my personal number. Enough people have it, it doesn't matter anymore. That's actually a secondary Google number. So did I try to pop in? Did I miss something here? So you can always email me if it's an emergency. You can text me. Also, here's my office phone, but I'm not there all the time. I'm only on campus days a week, and I usually out of it a little bit early on Wednesdays. And honestly, just it's in my contract, I only have to do 20 hours a week on campus. So, I try to hit that as close to 20 as possible. All right, let me
You're right. Maybe she'll get
stop
better.
the share here for a minute
I hope.
so I can put in Emma. I don't want to go in the grade book and everybody can see everybody else's grades that nobody really has except for a few people. I actually had a lot. Well, I may have to write you down, Emma. It doesn't want to pop up like it's supposed to. Oh, now it does. There we go. Why wouldn't it? There we go. Now we are back on track. Okay, so you saw my instructor information. I also have a Facebook page I just use for this if you want to join that. Now, the two things that I usually go through on the very first class is going to be there. I'm not too a big fan. Always, I'm not a big fan of these online articles, but this one is actually a pretty good one. This just tells you, and everybody, almost everybody here is, except for maybe a couple of you guys, 21 study tests for online class success. Most of these are comments and stuff that we already know. It's just somebody's put it in a format where you can look at it and go, oh, okay, yeah, I need to remember to do that. Set a major goal. If you're here, you've already done that, or if you're Heather, you like seeing. So, although I did notice we got a Stark and a Phoenix, they're like superhero names. And then
Yeah,
treat and
growing
study
up, I
like,
told my kids that Iron Man was my uncle, so my kids were like, "Really?" They grew out of it.
you know, that's a pretty good one actually. Um, okay, treat and study like a job. Make sure it's a job you like. Making a study plan, manage your time carefully, and to go along with that, have dedicated study blocks. Find yourself time to sit down and do this work, guys. Um, oh, Emma says you need to update Zoom. That happens. Um, don't wait. In fact, get ahead if you can, but don't wait to um, uh, get into the class, get the meat of it, because what'll happen is eventually it will bite you in the rear end, and you really don't need that. You know how many times that we've had really, really good students just for some reason put it off, and then you may get away with it once or twice, or even a few times. What'll happen is when you put it off, something will happen on the last week, and then you just really hosed, and you don't need that. So work as far ahead now. You got everything going on, just keep it going on. Now I always say, they say find the quiet space and eliminate distractions. I always explain to everyone that that's one of those personal tier. Um, for me, it being too quiet is a distraction. I can't work when it's completely quiet. So I always have music or a podcast, something going in the background, which helps me concentrate. I also used to have one of my business partners, if she was doing something, it had to be completely quiet in her office. She could not have any music or like the TV going in the background or anything else. So that's, different strokes for different folks, I assume. Social media is a huge time waster. Um, we have lots of online resources through our LRC. Kay, who's in charge of that, is working on getting everything even better. So check into that. You should have that on your Canvas pages. If you don't, let me know and we'll see what we can get those done. But there's some really good LRC stuff out there. Always the breakdown tasks, which, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Um, when you look at some of this, it just seems daunting and overwhelming. And the best thing to do is to just, take it a piece at a time. I'm gonna do first things first. I'm gonna do A. Once I get A done, I'm gonna get B done. And as you move through that, these things will begin to fall into place for you. Take notes, browse intelligently, make study enjoyable. Taking breaks, okay, that's a good one too. Taking breaks is productive. You can only sit here and work on homework for so long at a time before you have to get up, stretch your legs, grab a bottle of water, do whatever you need to do, but don't try to sit there for 3 hours at a time. And to be honest, I don't 30 minutes to an hour at a time, depending on how good you are. And people like me who really get into what they're doing, and cut everything else, even after an hour, I've got to get up and do something else. Stay healthy. You have other people in this class. I always tell, I don't know, I don't think anybody actually does it, but connect with some of these other people in class. It does help. Okay, if not for helping your homework, but kind of that moral support of somebody who's going through the same thing that you're going through right now. And just so you don't, I know sometimes it's easy to feel like you're just hanging out here alone. You only see me for an hour a week, and then whatever emails we send back and forth. You're not in a classroom, you're not looking at other people. And sometimes it just helps to, make a friend, even if it's just an online friend. Okay, well, that goes join a study team. Ask questions, please, for God's sakes. Just if you have any questions, ask me. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help. I know sometimes, and a lot of people had educational experiences I had on when I was going to OSU. And you felt like sometimes the instructor, the professor, whoever it was out to get you. That's not, and that's usually not how it is. And it's definitely not how it is with Bob and Brandy and myself. And I do tell a story, and I cannot remember this guy's name. He was teaching risk management, and that's it was either a 3,000 or 4,000 level finance class. So it was a big, ugly, nasty class. Number one, he was from Soviet bloc country, so he had this really thick accent, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he would hold the eraser in one hand and the marker in the other. And when you say risk management, it's mostly, it was mostly calculus. So he would go across the board. It would be do 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 do. Everybody got that? Whoosh, whoosh. And by the time you left that class for 3 hours a week, you were just ready to weep. It was hard, and he didn't care. I think we started out with like 40 people in the class. We ended up like with 13 at the end of the class because everybody else dropped it. And oh yeah, I believe I had a 60 something in the class. So I'm looking at a D, and by the time he curved it at the end, I ended up, it was like, I think it was a high B because the class was so hard. And it was like his mission in life was to run people out of there and put them through the ringer. And that's not what we're about here. We, just giving you access and exposure to the material. Do the reading. I always tell people on these chapters, just sit down, take the time, open up the book, read the chapter. First thing to do, read the chapter. That's the best thing you can do. And that way, when you go into the coursework, you're already familiar with what you're looking at. I don't know, in my experience, if you try to just open the book and try to do the homework, it takes you 3 times longer than it would be to read it and then go back and do it. So reward yourself. That's always a good one. I like doing that as well. About to sneeze. That was a good one.
Bless you.
So thank you. I always tell myself, hey, if I sit down and I read this chapter, then I'm going to do, something. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna play on Facebook, or I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna reward myself for a job well done. That'll be my break, and then I'll come back and I'll work on the homework. I always try to break it up, make it pleasant, give myself something to look forward to instead of just 3 hours of sitting in front of the computer. There's access to this on the page now. And I'll segue into, how are we doing on time? We'll get it. I always segue into, I'm a big Jordan Peterson fan. I don't remember if anybody, I think I had guy in the last class who one or two guys who knew who he was, but this small 4 to 5 minute video tells you why it's so hard to sit down and make yourself do what you need to do. It doesn't give you any solutions. It just kind of gives you some insight. I think it's a really good video. I always play it at the beginning of every class. So I'm going to share my sound and listen to Jordan Peterson for just a moment. And this is actually part of a much larger lecture, which is really, really interesting. I think I've watched pretty much every lecture he's put online, every talk except for the new stuff that's behind the paywall.
What is a woman?
Great question. I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
Your attention, for example, is mediated by unconscious forces. Unconscious forces. And you know that perfectly well. You know, if you're sitting down to study, for example, your conscious intent is to study, but you know perfectly well that all sorts of distraction fantasies are going to enter the theater of your imagination non-stop and annoyingly, and there isn't really a lot you can do about that except maybe wait it out. You know, so you'll be sitting there reading and your attention will flicker away. You'll think about, I don't know, maybe you want to watch Jane the Virgin on Netflix or something like that, or maybe it's time to have a peanut butter sandwich, or you should get the dust bunnies out from underneath the bed, or it's time to go outside and have a cigarette, or maybe it's time for a cup of coffee, or it's like all these subsystems in you that would like something aren't very happy just to sit there while you read this thing that you're actually up and try to take control of your perceptions and your actions nonstop. Maybe you think, well, this is a stupid course anyways. Why do I have to read this damn paper? And what am I doing in university? And what's the point of life? It's like you can really get going if you're trying to avoid doing your homework. And then you might think, well, what is it in you that's trying to avoid? Because, well, you took the damn course and you told yourself to sit down. Well, because you're a mess. That's basically why. You haven't got control over yourself at all. And no more than I have control over this laptop. Okay, so there's the memory function of the unconscious, and there's the distinct one. The unconscious contains habits, once voluntary, now traumatized, associated elements of personality, which may lead a parasitic existence. That's an interesting one. I would relate that more to procedural memory. You know, so what you've done is practice certain habits, whatever they might be. Let's call them bad habits, and you let things to get under control, but you can't. So maybe when you're speaking, for example, you use light a lot, and you practice that, so you're really good at it, and you'd like to stop it, but you don't get to, because you built that little machine right into your being, right? It's neurologically wired, and it's not under conscious control, and anything you practice becomes that. It becomes part of you, and that's another element of the unconscious, a different part. And then there's a creative part, which is that, well, you know, you're sitting around and maybe you're trying to write something, or maybe you want to produce a piece of art or a piece of music, or maybe you're just laying in bed dreaming and you have all these weird ideas, and especially in dreams, it's like, where did it come from? And even more strange, one of the things that's really weird about dreams, and almost impossibly weird, is that you're an observer in the dream. It's like a dream is something that happens to you. Well, you're dreaming it, theoretically, so how is it that you can be an observer It's almost like you're watching a video game or a movie, but you're producing it, at least in principle, although the psychoanalysts would say, well, no, not exactly. Your ego isn't producing it. Your unconscious is producing it. It's a different thing. And of course Jung would say, well, it's deeper than that. The collective unconscious might be producing it. It's in some sense, it isn't you exactly, or it isn't the you that you think of when you think of you. And that's the ego from the Freudian perspective, the you that you identify with. That's the ego. And outside of that is the unconscious, the id. That's more the place of impulses, and you could think about those as the biological subsystems that can derail your thinking, right? And that govern things like hunger and sex and aggression, and your basic instincts is another way of putting it. And it's a reasonable way of thinking about it, because these are subsystems that you share with animals. You share them certainly with mammals. You share most of them with reptiles. You share a lot of them with amphibians, and even going all the way down to crustaceans. There's commonality, for example, in the dominance hierarchy circuits. And so these are very, very old things. And the idea that you're in control of them is, well, you're not exactly in control of them. And I would say the less integrated you are, the less you're in control of them, and the more they're in control of you. And that can get really out of hand, you know. You can be like with people who have obsessive compulsive disorder, for example, which seems to be, I would say, the dissolutive elements in some poor people with obsessive compulsive disorder. They can spend half their time doing things that they can't really control, and they have very strong impulses to do them, and it's very hard on them to block them. You know, they'll almost panic if those things are blocked. And then you have people with Tourette's syndrome, you know, that they'll be doing all sorts of weird dances and spouting off obscenities and imitating people without being able to control it, and sometimes a little bit of antipsychotic medication can dampen that down, but it's as if there are these autonomous semi-spirits inside of them that grip control over their behavior and make them do things. And you know, you find that to some degree in your own life, because maybe you've become very attracted to someone, even maybe you don't want to be attracted to the person, and then you find yourself, you know, texting them when you know perfectly well that you should be going to bed, and you know, you're in a grip of something, and you can't control it. And that's all part of the unconscious, and all part of what Freud was studying.
All right, so no answers, only questions. But for some reason, I love that video. Like I said, it's much, it's part of a much larger lecture that he does, which the whole thing is interesting. He also does an entire thing on the psychology of Pinocchio, which is super great. So if you ever get a chance to be, and you're bored with, you know, cool stuff, then, you know, go watch that. But okay, so in Canvas, here's the on the left side here, and what I should do is put it in student view. Yours is going to look more something like this, with links on the left side. Okay, you have access to your syllabus. Okay, modules, discussions, assignments, and grades. These are all connected. This is a different way to look at the same things. Okay, and some of this is also going to have more information, but you'll see here you have your course home, you have your books, okay, and your documents. Online classroom, that's what happens if you don't come to class and you need to write the 300-word summary of the video, which will be here. Now, when you click on that, if you miss class, you click on online classroom week 1, and what you'll find are, I usually keep one here. This one will be the last one I did will become the previous one. Today's will become the new one. And that way, if you just click on it, it'll pull up YouTube and you'll see me right here. You'll do a summary, and it should say 200, it says 200-word summary over this, and then you can get your points. So that's where that comes from. And you have all your week 1 stuff here. This is broken down by week 1 for Wednesday, week 1 for Sunday, week 2, Wednesday, Sunday, and it's all broken down like that. Modules isn't my favorite one. A lot of people say you should live here. This is where you can find some of the extra stuff. But if you're just looking for assignments, there's discussions on here. Where my discussions go? Well, that's good time. Under assignments,
Discussions is on the side.
was it on the side? Okay.
Yeah, down below from our modules.
Well, here, this is just going to give you all the assignments by date. Now, once they've passed their date, they'll go down to the bottom. You can still access them, but they're gonna go down to the bottom. So just like here, chapter 1, concept quiz, it is due on the 10th, which is on Wednesday. Chapter 2 is due on May. Chapter 3 is due on Sunday. The week 1 test is due on Sunday. And then, of course, the classroom is due on Sunday and the discussion. So from here all the way up are going to be your, from here all the way up are going to be week 1 assignments. Now, we only have, how many people do we have in this class? I've already forgotten. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so we got quite a few for this class. The assignments, your original discussion post is going to be due on Wednesday. Your 2 peer replies are going to be due on Sunday. The reason we do it like that is if you do your original post by Wednesday, that gives people something to reply to before Sunday. So if everybody was to wait till Saturday to try to get it done, nobody would have anything to reply to. I go in on Thursday morning, and one of the first things I do is I grade all the original discussion posts or even the peer replies if you've already done some of those. And I give you your score. If you've only done, now the peer, let's just go to it here. The original discussion, okay, is only worth, I forgot to erase all those from last time. Holy moly, I'm gonna do that. Yeesh. The original is going to be worth 20 points total. All right. So you might get 19 points that you see on Thursday out of 30. That's fine because you still have Sunday to do the original, do your peer replies. And if you don't do anything, you haven't done anything, I put a 0 in there on Thursday. Hopefully that, and what that does, it usually clues people off of, oh crap, I forgot something, and they go in and go do it. The discussions are the best way, the easiest way to get points on the board is the discussions. And it is one of the hardest things to get people to do. All right. Just come in and do your discussions. I know a lot of people are self-conscious about their writing. They're worried about writing where everybody's going to read something. Writing is difficult. And when you're working in any sort of business environment, you're going to find yourself doing a lot more writing than you thought you would. And the best way to get good at it is to practice, and this is part of it. Okay, a little bit of research, a little bit of writing, watch your punctuation, grammar, spelling. Okay, so your initial response of 200 words, and then 75 words, 200 words or more. Let me put that out there. 200 words or more for your original, 75 words or more for your peer replies. These, all 4 of these discussions, we'll look at them here in a moment. there should be, oh, no, there's only 3 of them in this class. I'm sorry. Only 3. Week 4 in this class is pretty light, and I kind of do that on purpose. If you can get through the first weeks, week 4 is not too bad. There's no discussion on week 4, and there's no weekly test. On week 4, you have 3 assignments, and that's it. So that kind of hopefully make week 4 a little bit better for you. So let's look at how those grades shift out. Showing up to class or doing the summary is worth 10% of your grade, or 13% of your grade. Okay. Your discussions are 20% of your grade, and then everything else is worth 65. So if you decide not to do any of this stuff here, the best you can ever do is a C. I'm sorry, 25, 35, I'm sorry, a D. My math skills are going. I got to teach math next too. This is going to be crazy. Is best you're going to be able to do is a D. So you really, 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 really need to understand that although these are fewer points, they're just as important because they can keep your grade where you should be. And then this is also where you check your grades. Like I said, on Thursday, if you see a 0 or a 19, don't panic. Just know you need to catch up to your peer replies, do it by Sunday. When you get done on Sunday on your discussions, I turn around on Monday and I grade those and give you your final grade for the discussions on that week. What else here? Now, to get to your assignments, the easiest way I found to do it is to go into your assignments here, find the one you're looking for, like the chapter 1 concept quiz. Click on it. It'll take you to another screen with another button. Click on it. It'll open up another tab. It'll take you into Cengage. It's not going to take me into Cengage because I'm not a student. Try this again. Assignments. I'll go to my concept quiz. Hit my button. Then it'll open up. Now it should let me in. Once you get into Cengage, MindTap will open up and it will automatically load the one you just clicked. There you go. Start assignment now. Now, and the reason you see these assignments, they're quite long. There's 22 questions in this. Okay, which of the following statements is true of millennials? We got a bunch of millennials in here. A few of them. I'll be nice then. Although I did find myself using, we were, not what we were doing. I think we were getting something to eat. And Kimberly, she's all like, we're talking about millennials now. I'm gonna get him. And we were having an issue, and you could tell that the original waitress was a millennial, and then so they brought in the older waitress to kind of come in and help us because there was a little bit of an issue. And I said, I found myself saying, that is awesome that they sent us a real waitress and not a millennial, or a real person and not a millennial. So yeah, that's the old people don't like you guys. I'm telling you.
Wow.
We're especially as Gen Xers. Tell them, Michael. We're a whole different breed.
It seems like that generation, the millennials, there's just more of them that don't have common sense.
Oh, absolutely. I agree to that.
And so it's hard to get good customer service from them because they just are stupid
I plead the fifth.
because they don't have the common sense.
But Kimberlyn, we love you. We think you're special and awesome.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love intelligent millennials. It's just, my same generation. If you're a dumbass, then I'm not gonna like you.
Okay, don't hold back. Let me know how you really feel. But I have a couple of millennials. My kids are millennials, and I think I found, as a side note, especially with the younger males, is they're what I call minimalists. My son, one of the brightest guys I know, and he works exactly enough to pay his bills and keep everything going so he can video games for the rest of his time. It's just, I'm like, hey, don't you want to catch that overtime? And he's like, nah, I'll go home and.
My son is just now
Okay.
getting past that. Just about the time he hit 27, he was like, oh, wait, I need to be a grown up now. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life and actually, earn some money so I can buy a house and stuff.
Kimberlyn so feels attacked.
I totally get that because I used to be that way as well, bare minimum, when I was like 22. But I, kind of snapped out of it when, I turned 23, 24, and I came to my senses, but I totally get it. I mean, I get it. I have friends that are like that. So, and it drives me crazy because I'm just like, how do you not have any kind of like motivation or want to do something, or I don't know. That's just me though.
Exactly.
Well,
I understand that part. See, my oldest daughter, like I had my oldest daughter when I was 17. I was a junior in high school. So my mom dropped me out and everything. So I had to go back and get my diploma later and everything like that. But my oldest daughter, so she will be 20 in September. And it's like pulling teeth out of an alligator trying to get her to do anything. I'm like, you see me at 37 years old with military background, like still going to school so that we can survive, and you just want to work at O'Reilly's. Like, you're gonna have to go to school. I had to go to school. Look, you're gonna have to go to school to become or do anything. Why would you waste your younger years when you have an opportunity? And she's like, I don't know.
well,
I'm dealing with that with my brother. He's 24 and I'm raising his kid. No, he's 25. I'm raising his kid because he still
my
can't.
last little piece of advice, though. Just remember, you females grow up a lot quicker than us males. I think Michael will back me up when I say that we're not even self-aware till we're about 30. We're just not. We're just dumb. And some
I
of
can
us not
say
even
that
after that.
because my boyfriend is 11 years younger than me. Oh, it's a whole different ball game. When I was 27, I already had the military, like I said, everything like that under my belt. And with him, he's got 2 degrees now through college. And I'm like, he is such a hard worker. But when he comes home, he's like, I just want to play my Xbox. And I'm like, go for it. Go for it. You work 2 jobs, play your Xbox.
Well, that's the problem. He's an Xbox guy. If he was a PlayStation guy, he'd be a lot better. So,
I have
all right,
that
so
PlayStation player too.
now also back on track, since I have a tendency to sidetrack us here. Which of the following is a statement is true of millennials? They shape the internet. I'll say yes. They approach adulthood planning to work for success. Absolutely not. We just that. They were born between 75 and 80. Is that right? It'll say in the book. I don't think that's right either. And they did not feel entitled to a great job when they graduated from college. So once you figure out what your answers, and a lot of these will be check all that apply. Otherwise, I think there's only one answer. You can hit check my work, and you get feedback. You know it's right. You can go to the next one. So there's no reason not to do well on these because you get 3 shots at it. So if you get one wrong, I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to read the question. and go check my work. I probably got lucky. I probably Charlied out here. I did get lucky. Okay, let's go to number 3, see if I can get one wrong. Okay, so relationship error. I don't know. I'm not even gonna read it, just gonna try to get one wrong. It'll tell you get it wrong. Okay, so during the blank, as mass production took hold, huge factories and place skilled artisan workshops. Oh, that was the Industrial Revolution. So you know that one's not right. Go back and pick the right one. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, you get it correct. So, and like I said, you get 3 bites at every one of those questions. So there's just do it just like that. And if you have the book up next to you, this class is really beautiful for your GPA, and you learn a lot in it too. Anybody ever study the Industrial Revolution? It was a wonderful thing. So once you're done, you'll submit it for grading. They'll ask, are you sure? I'm absolutely sure. It'll give you your score. And I believe, if I remember how I had this set up, I believe you get 3 chances at each test. So if you don't like your total score, you can go back and do it again. So the only thing, the only issue people, oh, I got you. Yeah, Shay, you're good. She's already left. I'm over here talking. Now, once you get there, you can also, when you exit out of that, you'll also see this. I always filter mine by counts towards grade. And then pull this up, it can go by chapters. And then you can go into the rest of them if you want to. So we can go straight to chapter 2. And then there we are. So this is a pretty good course to get the work done pretty quickly, take a breather, learn some good stuff. So, and that's it. That's pretty much it. So this is a good course to keep you going, because they all don't have to be hard and make you feel like you want, jump off the top of a building. Sometimes they can just be, a good class. All right, so there is that part. So we know how to do our Cengage. And that, I believe, covers just about everything. You guys have any questions, concerns, anything I didn't cover that I may have forgotten? We got sidetracked talking about millennials, and then, my brain goes dead. I turned into a millennial.
I was looking at the discussions earlier, and I just wanted to make sure that you knew that they're not reset. It looks like all of the other posts are still on there.
Yes, I saw that. And you know what? I'm just going to leave them for this time. So now you have something to reply to if you want. That's my mistake. Let's just roll with it. Hey, you got to be adaptable, right? So, all right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you, that, Kimberlyn. Anything else? Autumn, Heather, Michael, Alexander. I'm going to stop sharing here so I can make sure I have everybody in their grades here in. Make sure I didn't miss anyone.
If I message you 11 times, I am so sorry. I have a TBI. I do have a traumatic brain injury. So it's kind of like 51st dates. I wake up every morning with a fresh mind. So I might forget some things.
Hey, stuff happens. It's fine. That's why I'm here. That's why I get minimum wage.
I'm
Okay.
like repeat myself. So I'm sorry if I do end up like repeating.
You're perfectly fine. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I'll change the text number on there. I think I'm just gonna have it sent directly to my phone. Now, do be aware that my phone does go on not disturb between 10 at night and 6 in the morning. So I just do. I have it set like where my kids and my grandkids and my mom and people, my brothers and sisters can call me, but everybody else, I won't see a call or a text till the next morning. Because otherwise, it's just not cool. And sometimes on a Sunday, I may be hard to get a hold of because, but I try to keep it on emails and everything, even through the weekends, because I know people don't like to wait. But yeah, otherwise everything's good. Any more? Heather, you're good. Dara, you good? I can't really. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording then.